What is up, everyone? My name is Zach, and I'm bringing you guys a brand new review today. Not for a movie, but for a game, and that's Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. If you can tell from behind me, I'm a big Uncharted fan. Of course, the statue sitting on me of one of my favorite video game characters, Nathan Drake, brilliantly voiced by Nolan North. But here we are. I'm talking about the spin-off. Kind of, honestly, it's a full game almost, but it's cheaper. It's a $40 add-on, and I gotta say, this game was fantastic. The story they told was awesome, and I can't wait to talk about it. The story pretty much picks up a couple months after Uncharted 4 is where I'm roughly estimating around with the dialogue they say in here. But of course, it takes up place with Chloe, who was mistakenly, I wish, was in Uncharted 4 a little bit more, and she wasn't. But she was introduced back in Uncharted 2, and she had a little role in Uncharted 3, but it was great to see her back in here and get her own spin-off. And I love seeing that. And of course, Nadine Ross, the partial villain from Uncharted 4, is also in here, teaming up with Chloe to find an ancient tusk back in India. Along the way, a new villain arises, named Sav, who's also after the tusk, and maybe some familiar faces do join in. But for me, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, I think the biggest thing about this game in particular, this add-on, this story, whatever you want to call it, the biggest thing about this game that I think Naughty Dog knocked out of the park is the fact that I never really thought of where's Nathan Drake. I never thought of where is he? Am I going to miss him and stuff? No, I never thought of that. I always played the game and said, man, I'm really digging the story. Not just with the story, but the characters in here are fantastic, and the journey they go on, the worlds, the locations are all great. And even though it's only in one central location, a lot to do in that location. Like I said, it's one central location. It is mostly a big open world, expansive thing, kind of from Uncharted 4 with the Jeep sequence, but a little bit bigger. And as much as I'd hate that sequence, I find it a little bit to be repetitive. It does get a little bit repetitive in here, but if I had any complaints, it's probably going to be my only complaint in here. More of a fan of the more narrow scenarios and the more open world kind of scenarios within the Uncharted world. I kind of like when it just points me in the right direction, and I think it makes the story flow a little bit better, which is my only thing with here, is it kind of halts the story for a bit, but once you get out of that scenario, it gets 10 times better and the story starts picking up very fast, especially the locations you head into. This part about Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is the fact that these two characters, their banter is fantastic. I love seeing them, and honestly, I'd love to get a spin-off of them or another game, a full game in particular, because this game is pretty long. It's around 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours, I would say, and that's pretty much as long as the first Uncharted game was, but not as long as the other ones after that. And for me, you're paying $40 for pretty much another Uncharted universe game. If you pick this up, I know you get some of the online and the survival feature and the survival mode, which is all really fun, but really you pick this up for the story, and the story does not disappoint. These characters are fantastic, especially if you like them and you miss them. You're gonna want to get to know them more. Chloe, you get a lot more background history to her, which was great to see. Nadine Ross, a character who particularly, I would say, isn't the one character I really struck out from Uncharted 4, but I wanted to know more about her, and you get to know her in here. And like I said, I really hope Naughty Dog listens to the fans and says, hey, we should make a game on these two, a full-fledged game. I would so go after it, because I think Uncharted really showed me in this game that you don't need Nathan Drake to make a great sequel or a great game. The best characters in the game, it's not him that made those games. It's the journey and the stories that they told. And if you have interesting characters like Chloe or Nadine or whoever else you want to introduce into this world, you can totally make those games work and bring us into this world, because it's still the Uncharted world. We get invested into the Uncharted world because of the journey you're taking us on. And maybe putting in some interesting characters will also add into that depth of that journey you're going on, which is the reason why we love the Uncharted franchise. That's the reason I love the Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. And with all that said, I'm going to give the Uncharted: Lost Legacy a 9 out of 10. I found this game to be beautiful in every way. I mean, the graphics are phenomenal. The gameplay was great. Really, my only complaint was that one open world scenario. Besides that, I think this is a perfect add-on to the Uncharted world. I can't wait to see what Naughty Dog does next. I know they're making Last of Us Part 2, which Last of Us, the first one, is one of my favorite games of all time. I've played that game repeatedly, and I still play the online. But tell me, guys, did you guys pick up the Uncharted: The Lost Legacy? Please tell me down below if you have. Are you little, I don't know if I should pick it up. Please tell me if you are, because I promise you, if this review didn't correct you, I will tell you for sure down in the comments that this game is worth your time. That, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay classy and have a great rest of your guys' day.